They usually have a huge selection, which is good. So if I'm looking for anything specific, played and completed that. They do have 3 houses here for 49. Spotted one crazy find in the N64 section, and it's the Snowboard Kids 2.
Hello everyone, it's Austin and we are back with another episode of my $10 Nintendo Collection series. We have consistently been game hunting for over 30 weeks now, going to thrift stores, pawn shops, game stores, finding items to flip, and then also purchasing Nintendo games to build a huge collection. To start off this video, just wanted to talk about some video games that I'm currently playing right now. So as some of you guys may know, I recently got a PlayStation 5 and have been playing a lot of PlayStation exclusives. I've played and completed 3 to 4 games on the PS5 now. I played Spider-Man Remastered, Miles Morales, Final Fantasy Remake, and currently playing through Days Gone. Days Gone has been a really fun game to play. It's open world with a nice storyline. It's a very long game though. I feel like I've been playing this game forever and I'm just trying to complete it now. I'd say the best game that I've played so far on the PS5 now is Spider-Man Remastered. I had so much fun traversing through New York City. The visuals were amazing and super fun storyline with all the villains. Once I finish Days Gone though, I'm hoping to either play Elden Ring or Ghost of Tsushima. I also find a little bit of time to play on my Switch Lite as well. Currently playing through Pokemon Scarlet. Huge open world, massive game. Once I finish that game though, I'm hoping to jump into Kirby and the Forgotten Land. We just recently picked that one up in last week's episode, and that leaves us off with 2 Fire Emblem games. We've been selling a ton of stuff this past week, so can't wait to show you guys that. But let's jump into our collection and get into these updates.
Before we get started on our sales at the game showcase, I do have a correction that I need to make from last week's episode. Halfway through the video, while I was going through some more sales, I actually posted the same sales totals for the same item twice. I sold a Red Dead Revolver game for around $20 and then also a Skylander bundle for around $45. I ended up posting the sales total for the Red Dead Revolver game twice instead of putting the Skylander bundle on there. So I added $11.29 twice, but for the Skylander bundle, I was supposed to add around $31. So gonna take some time to correct this right now. If we take the sales total for the Skylander bundle and subtract that with the sales total of the Red Dead Revolver, then you get around $20.32, and that's how much I will add back to the game fund since those funds were not added in the last episode. Big shout out to the viewer who caught this in my last video. $20 isn't a lot, but it still goes a long way, especially in this series. Here we are at the game showcase. We got some updates. Just sold a Blu-ray, and it's going to be this Hannibal one, season 3. It's actually missing a 3rd disc as well, and still ended up selling for $16.50. We picked it up for around $2 or $3 at a Goodwill. The second item we sold is going to be down here. It's going to be this Skylander Portal for the Xbox 360, and this one sold for $15. The last item is down here as well, and it's going to be this pair of New Balance 990 V5s. These are in like new condition and they sold for $79 plus shipping. Huge win on this one. We picked it up for $10 as well at a flea market. We just sold one more game, and it's going to be this Call of Duty combo pack on the PlayStation 3. This one managed to sell for around $20, and we picked it up for $4 or $5 at a thrift store. After eBay fees and shipping, this is how much we'll get to add back to our game fund. This week we're out here at 7 Mile Fair Flea Market. It's a bit cold today, there's snow everywhere. I'm usually out here in the back section, in the outdoor section, but there's an indoor flea market as well, so I thought it'd be fun to check it out this week and see what kind of games we can find, some deals, and stuff to add to our collection. As we walk in, we got our first booth. Got some cartridge games over here, and usually prices are pretty high in the indoor section of this flea market because they're here pretty much all year long. Got some N64 games. They usually have a huge selection, which is good. So if I'm looking for anything specific, there's a good chance I might find it at this flea market. And of course, I'm looking for Fire Emblem Awakening, which is on the 3DS. Hopefully we can find a copy of that here. And then maybe just look to see if there are any underpriced games to add to our collection. Not seeing anything too crazy. Alright, so I spotted a couple of interesting items that I might pick up, but wanted to take a peek at the other booths first before I did decide to grab anything. Over here we should have a booth that I typically visit. Hello. I guess over here I am seeing some GameCube games, some cheaper ones that I could possibly just pick up, add to the collection. It's always fun just picking up some lower end GameCube games, like this Bionicle game. I saw this Narnia one with no price on it. Scorpion King, The Getaway. This is a PS2 game. Okay, so that's about it, I guess, for GameCube. But not really seeing too much here. We'll hang on to those two. We got some Wii games here as well. And I didn't see much else in the rest of these. We got some Blu-rays over here as well. And some anime DVDs. Got a bunch of birds chirping super loud. Okay, how much you do for these two? I guess you do this one too for 18. That one's like 10 as well.
Yeah, I do it.
Okay, I'll do that. Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah. So I paid 18 bucks for these two GameCube games. Just a decent deal, I guess. And here we are at our next booth. It's got tons of games here. We'll just start digging away. Alright, so not seeing much so far. Let's take a look at the Switch section really quick. Prices aren't the lowest from what I'm seeing. Ultimate Alliance 3 is awesome. Played and completed that. They do have 3 houses here for $49, but I think at the other booth they had it at $39. So could pick this up as our second Fire Emblem game, but we'll probably pick it up at the other booth since it's cheaper. This game's gone up a ton, but there's just so many Switch games. If I could find any for like super cheap, maybe I'll pick them up, but I'm not really interested in the rest of these. They got a ton of 3DS games, but I just cannot find Fire Emblem Awakening. Not sure why this game is so difficult to find nowadays, but you're not having any luck at this booth. Taking a look at this glass case now, and they got all their Nintendo cartridge games in here, and I actually do see a lot of cheaper games for a pretty good price, even for the NES and N64. So maybe I do pick up a couple of games that I find interesting in here. Right off the bat with N64, that Kirby's actually only 50 bucks, which is a really good price compared to the other times I've seen it. BioFreaks for 10 bucks. Maybe you just pick up some obscure ones that I don't currently have in my collection. Ooh, Superman for 15 isn't bad. That game is, of course, reviewed terribly, but I haven't looked at the Super Nintendo section yet. Maybe I pick up some here as well. See some $10 games, which isn't too bad. So I wanted an N64 game, this BioFreaks game, and then maybe 2 Super Nintendo games.
Okay.
So this Judge Dredd game. Wow. I'll probably just go with these 2 then.
Those 2 you
for
got?
20. Yeah.
20.
even.
All right,
There you go,
cool.
man.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. You have a good rest of your day.
You as well.
Thank you.
All right, so we spent another 20 for a N64 and a Super Nintendo game. Pretty happy with that. I didn't want to spend too much, but yeah, really missed out on that Lord of the Rings game, which looked really cool. Let's head back to the first booth and see if they can cut any deals on some games. If not, I might pick up that Fire Emblem game on the Switch. All right, so I was eyeing this Lost Odyssey game, which could be, I guess it's missing a manual and everything, unless they got it in the back. And then this is Fallout New Vegas. I'm not sure if there was anything else that I kind of put aside. I don't think there was. Alright, I was able to find the Fire Emblem Three Houses for $40. This is more traditional Fire Emblem style game. And then we'll see if we decide to grab these two or not as well. Alright, I got these three games. Would you do 60 for those three?
I do 65, bro.
Okay.
That work?
Yeah, I could do 65.
Hey, cash or card, man?
Cash. So, 65. We're back in the car and picked up a total of 7 games. We got like around two games at each booth. Got these 2 cheap GameCube games at the first booth for around $10 each. The second booth actually had some very solid prices on their Nintendo cartridge games. We got this BioFreaks game along with Judge Dredd on the Super Nintendo. I probably should have picked up that Lord of the Rings game. Even at $15, that was a really good deal and was one that I was definitely interested in. And then lastly, we got these 3 games at the last booth for $65. He just took off $5 off of the total. And we finally picked up another Fire Emblem game. That leaves us off with 1 left. Fire Emblem Awakening, which I'm looking for. Honestly, if I cannot find this last Fire Emblem game, I'll probably just end up picking up a different game. But we will for sure keep looking. Really happy with all of these pickups. We didn't find any amazing deals here, but really wasn't expecting for that. Here at the Game Showcase, we got another great sale. We managed to sell another pair of sneakers. We've been selling sneakers very well to start off this new year. I think we got 3 big shoe sales within this past month. These are the Nike Sakai's that we managed to sell for $69. And we also included like $12 shipping on this one. We just made another quick sale, and it's going to be a PlayStation 2 game, this Makai Kingdom. We managed to sell this one for $16.50, and we picked it up for around $4 at a pawn shop. We got one more sale, and it's going to be this Dynasty Warriors 5 game on the PS2. This one sold for $18.50, and we got it for, I don't know, $2 or $3 at a flea market. Gonna get this packaged and shipped after eBay fees and shipping. This is how much we'll get to add back to our game fund. We are back out here at this Mega Media Exchange. So recently found a bunch of sealed items here, but looking over these glass cases now, there's a couple items that definitely interested in. We got some Switch games up here. This Kingdom Hearts one is really cool. This Mato game for $14. This Yonder game for 14. So some pretty cheap games. Couple of Wii U titles and a decent amount of GameCube. In this case, I'm seeing one game down here that I'm interested in, and it's this Mega Man Network Transmission game for $14. I feel like that's a really good price for that, for a Mega Man game on the GameCube. Got some interesting DS titles as well. Castlevania, Dragon Quest. How much is that one? 60. And this Shinobi game is crazy. Over here in the cartridge games, spotted one crazy find in the N64 section, and it's the Snowboard Kids 2. I rarely see that game, and for $60.99, that's a crazy price. I think it usually goes for around $80 to $90, and they actually have a decent selection of games though. I don't see this many games at these stores too often. A couple of games back there, Duke Nukem and Rainbow Six. Then a bunch of football games here as well. Over here though, we got some Wii U and some GameCube games, more GameCube games. And there were actually some that I did want or was considering. So the first game is this Resident Evil 0 for 12 bucks. Looks to be complete. And then also maybe this True Crime. I believe I picked this up in the last series already, so may pass on that. I think I have this one already. I think I have this game as well. Maybe this Finding Nemo game could be a pickup. I don't know. Over here in the PS4 section, and there's one game that I'm kind of debating on as well, and it's this Rock Band 4 for $33. This game is selling for around 50 to 60 on eBay. I would probably only get around like a $15-ish profit on this. Is that worth it though? Depends on how quick this one will sell too. Forgot to mention too, down here we got some loose games, and I did spot one game or one item that I was considering, and it's this Action Replay Max on the PS2. They got it listed here for $7, and I've actually flipped this one before. It goes for around $30-ish just for this disc alone. So that's one that I'm probably gonna grab as well.
Those are cool to collect. Total is $34.92 for those.
And we are now back in the game room. That wraps up the game hunting for this week. We really didn't go to too many places. Just checked out the flea market and then hit up a Mega Media Xchange. We picked up 7 games at the flea market and got some GameCube games for around 10-ish bucks. We got this Bionicle game on the GameCube. This is a 3D action adventure game. You play as Toas, and each of them have their own special ability. This game was definitely made for Bionicle fans and people who are invested in that world. And then we also got Scorpion King on the GameCube. This is a game adaptation to the movie. You play as The Rock, and this is also a 3D adventure game. More of just like a hack and slash. I would assume this just goes along with the movie or maybe adds on to that. And then we picked up a couple of Xbox 360 games to flip. We picked up this Lost Odyssey, which I already have in my personal collection. I still have yet to play this game though. It's a huge game with I think 3 or 4 discs. This is a turn-based battle RPG style game. I've only heard great things from this. And then the second game we got is Fallout New Vegas Ultimate Edition. I don't think I have the Ultimate Edition in my personal collection yet, but as you guys may know, this is my favorite game. Picked it up because it does hold some decent value, around 25 to 30 bucks, and we got it for 15. We also came away with a couple of Nintendo cartridge games. We got BioFreaks on the Nintendo 64. This is a third-person fighting game. Really focuses on aerial and flying combat. You play as these futuristic characters. The next game we got is Judge Dredd on the Super Nintendo, and this is also based off of a movie. This is a 2D side-scroller, free-roaming game. You play as this Judge Dredd character, and you kind of just go around arresting enemies and bad guys. And then the last game we got is Fire Emblem 3 Houses. We finally picked up a more traditional style Fire Emblem game. This game is huge, massive. Takes place in a school or monastery where they teach the students to become warriors. A lot of interacting with characters, side quests, and it's a tactical combat game where you can control, lead, and deploy forces or troops in battle. Lastly, we just made a visit to Mega Media Xchange and picked up 3 items. We got this AR Max on the PlayStation 2. This is an action replay disc, and from what I heard, I think this allows you to play like region-free games on their PlayStation 2. And then picked up 2 more GameCube games. We got Mega Man Network Transmission. This is part of the Battle Network series. For Mega Man, it's just your traditional 2D side-scroller Mega Man game. It's on the GameCube, and the visuals remind me of that GameCube era of graphics. And then lastly, we got Resident Evil 0. The story takes place before Resident Evil 1. It's also your traditional Resident Evil style game. You play as Rebecca and Billy, and this game allows you to alternate between these 2 characters. Looks like a lot of fun. There are a lot of puzzles, finding keys and things like that, items to open up the next area. And that's all the games that we got. Gonna add it all to the collection right now and put one more tally to the Fire Emblem franchise. That leaves us off with 1 more Fire Emblem game. That's all I got for this week though. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Hope you guys are still enjoying the series so far, and I'll see you guys on the next one.